Waiting, it often stirs a mix of emotions. There can be anxiety and impatience as anticipation builds, creating a sense of unease about the unknown. And at the same time, hope and excitement may spring forth, fueled by the expectation of a positive outcome. But if I'm honest, feelings of frustration and helplessness can arise, particularly if the waiting period feels prolonged or uncertain. Wait. Charles Stanley, or Dr. Charles Stanley, he reminds us of the value in waiting with this amazing quote. And it is, our willingness to wait reveals the value we place on what we're waiting for. And as we're willing to wait and placing the value on that, there's so many things that we learn in the process. And I'm just going to give you two things that we can learn in this process. And I might even name the third thing. But the first thing is self-awareness and acceptance. It's in self-awareness, it's the foundation of our personal growth. It's the foundation of our development. And this kind of involves us being able to understand what our desires are, what our strengths are, even our weaknesses, being able to discover the things that motivate us and learning what our why is, why we desire to do the things that we desire to do. The other thing, though, it also helps, it gives clarity when it comes to making decisions. So when we understand who we are, that builds our confidence. It helps make it easier as we pursue our goals and be able to stand up for what we believe, be able to stand up for our personal beliefs, our values, and things of that nature. The other thing it does is it helps with creating and developing authentic relationships. When we know what we want, when we know what our values are, we're able to develop relationships that line up with that. We're able to be the person we need to be in the relationship, and we're also able to identify who we need the other person to be in whatever type of relationship that we happen to be pursuing at that particular time. Another thing it helps with resilience and adaptability. Now, why is this important? We all know that life is full of challenges and it's full of change. So being able to have resilience and adaptability, it helps with that. It helps us to be able to adapt. It helps us to be able to bounce back from setbacks. It helps us to be able to be and do and have the things that we desire to have. It helps us to be able to navigate that season. It helps us to be able to have the courage to move and do the things that we need to do during that time. It helps us to know that sometimes we need to wait, is what we're talking about. Sometimes we need to pivot. Sometimes we just need to change. Sometimes we just need to pause. Sometimes we just need to continue to do what we're already doing until we get direction and clarity of what the next thing is that we should do. The other things that it does help with, it helps with coping with adversity. Again, it helps us to recover from difficult situations and challenges. It helps us to begin to be flexible when it comes to life transitions. And we sort of touched on that a little bit. And the last thing is that it helps with problem solving. It begins to help us to develop a mindset to be able to solve the various problems when we come up against them. And we all know that challenges and circumstances can come. Sometimes life happens, and sometimes we have to figure out a way to be able to navigate through those times and through those seasons. And that can happen at any given time. It can happen as we're young. It can happen as a young adult. It can happen as we're maturing, as I like to say. So it can happen in any season of our lives. It doesn't even matter. But you better believe that there are going to be periods where we need to develop some good problem solving skills. And then the third thing, I'm just going to throw it out there, it gives us purpose and meaning. You know, purpose gives us meaning and helps our lives to be fulfilled when we know what our purpose is in life. And we all were created for a purpose and for a reason. And I'm reminded of a scripture that talks about that if as we wait on the Lord, He's the one who renews our strength. And what does he cause us to do? He calls us to mount up on wings like an eagle. The other thing I'm reminded of is that he gives us feet like hinds feet that cause us to walk on those high places. So again, as we go to the word, it reminds us the value in waiting and some things that can happen as we're waiting. So I want to encourage you. I want you to be encouraged that as you're waiting, whatever it is that you're waiting for. So for some of us, we might be waiting to transition into a new career. Some of us might be waiting to purchase a home. Some of us might be waiting and going through the process of healing and developing and growth. Some of us is waiting for a spouse. There are many things that we're waiting for, but in that process, again, we can learn to be self-aware and accept those various things during that season. We can learn to be resilient and adapt. We can learn that whatever it is, it has a purpose and it has meaning. So I want to encourage you to celebrate or be, don't be discouraged in your process of waiting because know that on the other side, oh my God, there's a scripture that says, eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, and it hasn't entered into the hearts of man the things that God has in store for you. So continue to be encouraged as you're waiting. But as you're waiting, continue to do what you know to do. Continue to serve, continue to grow, continue to develop. So waiting doesn't mean that we just sit still and we don't do nothing. It's a time that we can have a lot of self-awareness, self-discovery. There's a time when we can work out the kinks. There's a time when we can, see what's working, what's not working. There's just so many things that we can learn in the waiting, because when you get to the other side, you haven't begun to see the amazing things that God has already prepared just for you. So until next time, continue to live life bold, fulfilled, and free. Take care.